So today we're going to give you a little presentation about India and its culture and its people. My name is Amber.
I'm Michael.
I'm Hija.
I'm Leon.
I'm Irene. Okay. So before we start, we wanted to show you a little video by YouTuber Edwan Janice. She is a YouTuber, but she does work for a travel agency. Although this video does not go in depth in terms of like the culture and what it's like, it does give a very touristy perspective. So we wanted to show you this so that you can see what India is like visually and understand if you haven't been there yet. Now that we have seen the video, we want to give you a clear understanding of what the culture is like, with the central idea being that family is an important aspect of Indian culture, and basically give you a better understanding of how it ties into each of the topics that we're going to discuss today.
So in this presentation, we would like to talk about first the background information, and then second the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, and then third one's infanticide, and then follow on is going to be artifactual communication, and then it's going to be assimilation. Next will be PowerPoint, and then last is going to be takeaways and conclusion.
So to start off, just some background information about India. India occupies most of South Asia, and according to the Encyclopedia Britannica, is a constitutional republic that's made up of 29 states with a national capital at Delhi. According to the World Bank, their population was more than 1.3 billion in 2017, and it's expected to grow annually 1.1%. The Encyclopedia Britannica also notes that family is the most important social unit in India, and throughout our presentation we'll show you how gender and age precedences, religion, cuisine, and clothing all relate back to the family. So in Chapter 5 of our textbook, Jan describes how the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis describes how reality is embedded in culture's language, and that language then controls thought and cultural norms. So while there are many religions in India, the Encyclopedia Britannica notes that Hinduism is the largest, and Sanskrit is the language through which this religion is communicated and passed down. So the textbook also states that India is a collectivist country. Being a collectivist nation, India places a lot of emphasis on the family. Religion is a family-centered event. So by being able to communicate these religious-specific meanings, families are able to communicate together, which might not have a meaning to another culture. And this allows the families to practice their faith together and ultimately grow closer.
So next I'm going to be talking about infanticide. As you know, all the information on the slide is from Chapter 9 of our textbook by Jant. So infanticide is defined in the book as the termination of a life of an infant within a year of its birth. So it describes how India has a really long history of female infanticide. It stems especially from the gender discrimination that's very prevalent within the country, and the preference for having sons over having daughters. So actually, since gender discrimination and infanticide became such a huge problem within the country, India actually had to pass a law preventing doctors from revealing the sex of the baby before its birth. Also, to discourage the abuse that was going on within India, the government actually provided and created programs to provide free meals and free education specifically for daughters, so that This would encourage families to take care of them.
So in chapter 4 of our textbook, we talk about artifactual communication, which is a type of nonverbal communication described as messages conveyed through objects or arrangement of objects made by human hands. Why is this important? This is a key aspect of Indian culture when we talk about individualizing and actually being able to realize the social class or even the religion a person belongs to, even before any kind of verbal communication is made. I related this to family and culture by talking about the ceremony lenga, the golden and henna. These three elements that we can see in the picture are key to a wishful wedding in the Hinduist tradition. Weddings are also a millennial tradition that resists the pass of time. Even through India is actually becoming one of the most important economies of the world, and modernizing these very important traditions are key. The definition comes from the International Communication Book of the Vito of 2013, and the fact of the ceremony lenga and the importance of it comes from the BBC Brahma Hinduism special article. The importance is that gold is actually a representation of the god Brahma, which is the creator of the universe in the Hinduist religion. So by realizing that someone is wearing gold and henna, you already know they belong to the Hinduist tradition without even having to actually talk to them.
So according to the text, chapter 10 by Janet, the definition of assimilations mean that when one immigrant moves to another country and they adopt into a new culture, and according to Bartlett, who's a food journalist, he's claiming that curry is a spice originated in India, and thanks to the British colonists, curry is able to spread worldwide, like such as in Korea, Japan, and Thailand and Vietnam. And therefore, thanks to the British colonists, there were all kinds of curry, variety of curries, such as the Japanese curry, the Thai curry, and the image about the Indian curry. So, and then from my personal experience, Japanese curry are very various. They have curry udon, curry katsu, and the curry pan, a bread that has curry filling inside.
So to further understand a culture, so to further understand a culture, it's also important to understand the power distance levels in it. Essentially, in chapter 6, Jan describes power distance as being the distribution of power, prestige, and wealth among the people in the culture. Specific to India, it's important to look at the caste system, and this has to do a little bit about its history. So on the left, we see the pyramid with the Brahmins being at the top and the Dalits being at the bottom. It was essentially, according to BBC News, a top-down hierarchy that grouped Hindus into 4 main groups, as you see on the left. And each group had different associations, whether that was prestige associations or wealth attributions, etc. The caste. Okay. So it's important to note that it no longer exists in modern India, and as it has long been banned. But this is not to say that the after effects have not really taken on a toll in terms of the role of people and the type of work that they do. In an article by author McCarthy, she describes India as having a very large distribution to the Dalit families and the upper caste. So essentially, the Dalit families tend to do a lot of the dirty work, whereas the upper class tend to be the ones who buy a lot of the raw materials from these kinds of families. And I think this is important to mention because it did create a lot of high power distance in India and in the country, and it did have a very large effect in between how people relate to one another and how they work along with one another as well.
Alright, so before we leave, we wanted to give you guys a little bit of a summary to actually be able to conceptualize what we've seen today. First of all, we talked about the Sapir-Whorf hypothesis that describes how language controls culture norms in different groups, especially in India within the family, that nowadays, even in the 21st century, is a key aspect in society. We can still observe how the nucleus of the family is also the nucleus of life, and it revolves around it. It's had such a big impact on everyday life that we can see that female infanticide, which is the termination of the female infant within the first year of life, is such a big deal. It's such a big issue that it was forbidden for doctors to reveal the gender of the newborn baby before it's actually born, just because it has such a big impact and it's so dangerous for them that the difference between male and woman, as we've seen in other societies, women are still treated as second-class citizens. We've also seen how artificial communication is deeply embedded into Indian culture. Without even having to talk to someone, we can actually realize which culture, which religion, or which social group they belong to by wearing the burqa or by wearing other kinds of garments that identify where they belong to. This has also a very big impact within the family, since religion is still a key aspect and it's hard to leave these traditions. While India is doing it, it's actually assimilating those traditions, as we've seen with the curry. The curry has expanded all over the world, and it has assimilated into other cuisines because of its unique spice and taste. It's a key aspect also of the cuisine typical of India. And lastly, we want to leave you with the caste system that is also long gone by law, but its effects are still present as of today in the Indian society. We can still see differences in between the place you're born and the caste system that has placed you in. Even though if it's not a written thing, it is deeply embedded into the people's hearts and minds.
So something that you can take away from our presentation and apply to your everyday lives is to just be more understanding of the different cultural norms and the values in various cultures and just becoming more self-aware of it, especially since we go to a school like Baruch and live in a city like New York City where we meet many people from many different backgrounds on a daily basis. It's really important to understand that what may be a norm to you and what may be seemingly normal to you might not necessarily be the case for somebody else. So it's really important to just be accepting and understanding of these differences. And we just want to leave you off with, so the word namaste is a common greeting used in India, and according to Health Magazine, it roughly translates to I bow to the divine in you. So it's not just a greeting word like hello, but it's actually deeply rooted in showing respect for the other person. It's also a gesture to send a message of positivity and peacefulness into the universe in hopes of receiving a positive message back, according to the magazine. So with that being said, namaste.
13-5. Right in the zone. Well done, groups. Now, when you're hearing the direction of 12 to 15 minutes, but you actually see it play out, so when you're concise and organized, it's plenty of time. But in the beginning, it seems completely overwhelming. It's all about being concise. What another beautiful presentation. Feedback from the audience. I'll let you handle the feedback.
Yeah. So one of the takeaways, one thing I would take away is that sometimes some of you guys will stand in the middle of the class. I understand, you're trying to phrase the class, but at the same time, people can't really see the presentation. So for me, I was trying to wait, but I had to wait until you move on the side so I can read.
I was just trying to take the first step.
Yeah, I understand.
So I like that you were in the middle, but I could see around you, so I guess it all depends on where you're at.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, guys.
But you should think about, if you can have an ideal place where you're standing, ideally, where are you able to do both? Have everybody see and be closer to the audience. You control the feedback.
Like I did a background slide and kind of give a view of the country itself. That was really informative.
I really like the video you guys showed because it really shows like the everyday life in India, but from a tourist point of view. Because like obviously the YouTuber isn't someone who lives in India, and like that was just really cool.
Thank you.
It was a very pretty photogenic video.
Sorry. Overall, I think it was a great presentation. The eye contact was a little lacking from some. Most of you guys are focused on the professor. We'll look up. That was my also at times people would speed up as they, I guess, like, I don't know if the reports were accurate, but it was like it got harder to follow as people started talking faster and faster.
Most of us in our head, when we're speaking the appropriate pace for public speaking, it feels too slow when we're in our head listening to our voices. So slow down more than you think you should. And I'm just as guilty as everyone because I talk really, really quickly. People from the northeast of this country in the United States, we tend to speak quickly. So if you know that, slow it down. Right now, this feels so slow to me, but it's probably a really good public speaking pace on that. Last comments?
So you all have really beautiful voices. Your volume was really great. It was really clear and concise. What I really liked is that it was obvious that you all practiced, but at the same time, the way you spoke was very conversational. It didn't just feel like you were lecturing to me. It felt like you genuinely wanted us all to learn something. So I appreciated the tone that you all took. The only thing that I would say is that when you're looking back at the slide, maybe pause, look back, and then continue your sentence when you're facing the audience again. Sometimes it can be, if I'm not looking at you guys, I hear like the dip in the volume, and it's a little disorienting sometimes.
When I taught at Columbia spring 2017, they were fanatical. They called it the arc of silence, that when you look back at your slide, you're to be silent until you make eye contact with your group again. And they force us as the teachers to take big deductions if people didn't do that. Yeah, so good observation. You said it was obvious that they practiced. Why was it obvious to you? What were you seeing or not seeing that showed that it was practiced?
So one thing that I noticed is that you all knew exactly who was supposed to speak when. There weren't these long, awkward, or jumbling pauses between sections. And then also, I could tell with the way you guys moved. When one person they knew it was their turn, you stepped back, stepped forward, the other person stepped back. I could feel, like, to me, like, when you're presenting, it's almost something alive, like it's rhythmic, and I could feel the flow between all of you. There was, like, a good dynamic between all of you as well.
It is, yeah. I'm trying to think of the word I want to use to describe you. Your stuff is good. You're seeing things deeper than the average person does. Patterns. You get paid to do this?
Yeah, I'm a speech coach.
Hey, okay. Good job. Another beautiful presentation. The opening was really good. Good oral citation for the video clip. Citations were all really well done. The only one I didn't hear, and you very well may have it, so we'll show you the video. For infanticide, I heard chapter 9, but I didn't hear the outside source. Who was infanticide again?
Me.
Yeah, just check that one. Show me if you have a second. Summary, go back to that one, number 11. Very thorough and well done. I'm not deducting for this, but just be aware. Number 3, Indian culture. Indian should be capitalized, capital I.
Yeah, that's my fault.
I'm not deducting for it, but it's just a minor typo. Conclusion was really well done. Very thorough, perfect takeaways, and it was nice and concise per slide. Less text, add picture. I forgot to tell you guys same thing. On the summary slides, I'm not deducting for this, but try to reduce the amount of text that are on your summary slides and always have a pretty picture just to decorate it so it's not so text heavy. You can use phrases, not complete sentences. You'll speak with complete sentences.